Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here. I have an urgent report. In just 2 days' time, today is September 21st, well, September 22nd and September 23rd, the world is going to end. Actually, the world is not going to end on September 23rd. The rapture of the church is not going to happen on September 23rd. Now, I have a video today, and it might just upset a few people that are out there, but I want to be blunt and share with you the facts, the statistics, so you really know what's going to happen on September 23rd, and so that you also know the significance of it. Now, let's start with the fact of what is September 23rd and why are all the Christians ranting and raving about it? Well, it comes from the book of Revelation chapter 12 verses 1, and I'm going to read that section to you here. And it says, and this is a sign that's in the Bible that talks about it could be a constellation, it could be it's more or less a prophetic sign of things to come, something that the Bible tells will happen in the future. Well, a lot of Christians take this sign and say, okay, well, this paints the perfect picture of what's talked about in the book of Revelation. And yes, it actually does. It paints a picture, but we must always remember that a lot of the times they're just signs in the heavens. It doesn't mean some catastrophic event is going to happen. That said, let me read to you that particular section. Revelation chapter 12 verses 1 through 5 states, "A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun," remember that, "moon under her feet," remember that, "and a crown of 12 stars on her head," remember that. "She was pregnant and cried out in pain and gave birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, a red dragon with 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 crowns on its head, and it swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. She gave birth to a son, a male, who will rule the nations with an iron scepter, and her child was snatched up to God and up to his throne." Now, it is that particular verse later on in the book of Revelations that many Christian prophecies are saying, hey, look, it's just a simple sign in the sky. Now, there's other Christians who are saying it's the end of the world and we're all going to die and it's doomsday and it's the rapture. Those are just false. Ignore them, and I'm going to prove it to you. However, I do believe it's a prophetic sign, as the blood moons were, as I believe this is. It's just a prophetic sign from the Lord of things to come. My personal take. So let's get into this a little bit more. For those of you who may not have heard it, on September 23rd, there's going to be an astronomical lineup in the constellations in the heavens. Now, I'm going to throw up on the screen that actual alignment so you can see what I'm talking about and how it correlates with the book of Revelation. Well, for starters, Virgo is referenced in Revelation that I just read 12:1. It says that she is going to be clothed with the sun. Well, Virgo on September 23rd will be clothed with the sun. You can see the sun at her head, and so a lot of Christians say it clothes her. Now, here's the question to be asked. How often does the sun go next to Virgo's head? Well, the truth, it happens every year during the month of September, October. Is it uncommon for the star to be there? Answer, no, it isn't. It happens every year. Next part, the moon will be under her feet. Well, we also see in Revelations 12:1, the moon will be under her feet. Well, how often is the moon under Virgo's feet? The answer, this happens at least 2 days each month. Usually during autumn, but 2 days each month. So it's not an uncommon occurrence to have the moon at her feet and the sun at her head. These happen all the time. Let's move on a little bit further. Virgo will give birth to Jupiter. How often does Jupiter, now if you see on the constellation, Jupiter will actually be birthed through Virgo, and that's what a lot of people are calling Revelation 12 sign that a child will be born. So they liken the Jupiter, right? And Jupiter can be called Zeus or God, but they're calling it, that. And it's going to be birthed through Virgo on September 23rd. Well, how often does that particular alignment happen? The answer is every 12 years, Jupiter spends about 1 year going through Virgo. That happens every 12 years. So again, it's not a too uncommon occurrence. Moving down a little further in that, Leo will line up over Virgo, fulfilling the crown of 12 stars on Virgo's head. That was also seen in the book of Revelation, where it says that there will be a crown of 12 stars on her head. Well, a lot of people say, well, Leo is on top of Virgo's head. Well, technically, while there are 9 stars on Leo, they have to pull in 3 more stars, that being, in order to make the 12 fit, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So Mercury, Venus, and Mars, plus the 9 stars of Leo, would make up your 12. Well, technically, it's not just Leo that they're using. And if we're going to be honest about it, there are more stars on Leo than, just the 9. And it is a bit of a distance away from Virgo. But either way, you have the 9 stars on top of Leo's head, and you have to add the 3 in order to make it the official 12. And technically, there's more stars in Leo, like I said a moment ago. However, 9 are used to draw the constellation. Back in historical times, they used over 27 to draw the constellation, just to give you an idea of what that is. All right, bottom line. So how often does this particular alignment happen with all these things happening at the same time? Well, that's a bit trickier, because here's the thing. As far as we have been documenting for the past 1,000 some odd years, it's never happened before with all these particular things happening at the same time. That said, all these particular things happening at the same time do happen independently and often, off and on, as I quoted before. So this particular alignment with the, Leo and the 3 extra Mercury, Venus, and Mars, it's never happened since we have documented it. However, if you go to historical records, there are ones dating to the early 1800s, to the 1400s, to the thousands, talking of similar events that have happened. In a nutshell, here's my 2 cents on it. The rapture is not going to happen on September 23rd. We're not all going to die and meet our fate on September 23rd. No, none of that. No reason to panic. And I know a lot of you may be upset about this, but I'm just being real. I'm just being honest about what it is that September 23rd actually harbors. That said, I just believe it's a prophetic sign from the Lord, as a lot of stars and things are. I think God tells us in the book of Genesis that the heavens are given to us for signs, for seasons, and for signs. So it's just a sign to God's people saying, hey, this is what the future holds, or this is what's to come. Nothing more than that. And we're living in some pretty chaotic times, I believe, personally. Now, that also said, a lot of people are talking about not only is everything lining up for September 23rd, but they're talking about all the catastrophic events. I'll be frank, okay? A lot of things have happened this month, usually a pretty big uptick. But here's what we're forgetting on the scientific side. And remember, I'm a Christian. I love the Lord, but I also look at science. I look at all of the sides of it. Here's the thing. We are in a solar minimum. This happens every 11 years. This is also the year 2017. During that time, there usually is an uptick in hurricanes and hurricane activity. It's not uncommon to have an uptick in intensity and the amount of them. So to say that there has been more, absolutely there has been more than normal. But there is usually more anytime we have a solar minimum, which means less activity on the sun causes more chaos, if you will, here on Earth, here on the world. So just another scientific fact. That said, I think they're all prophetic signs of things to come because God's timing is perfect. So did God time it all together? Absolutely. That's what he does. That's who he is. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. Hopefully you get where I'm coming, but a lot of people have asked me to do my take on September 23rd. So I wanted to get it out 2 days before the infamous day that everybody is supposed to hit the dirt. Oh, that said, there's one guy out there claiming it's the end of the world and Planet X is going to come and blah, blah, blah. I think his name is David Mead. And I was laughing because he was turning down interviews because he was scheduling them for next week. If we're all supposed to die on the 23rd, David Mead, how are you going to have an interview next week? I don't know. Some of these people are kooky. Anyway, wanted to bring you the latest on all of that so you get the details. I'd love to hear your thoughts and concerns on all of it. I'm going to leave extra information below so you can check out some of the sources where I grabbed everything from and decide for yourself. But obviously, the world's not going to end. It's not the end of the world. It's not the rapture. It's just a prophetic sign like the blood moons, like other things that God God has put in the sky. Anyhow, please don't forget to check out my partner, noblegoldinvestments.com. Make sure you have gold, silver, precious metals. He can convert your 401k into a Roth IRA. So keep that in mind as well. And I recommend no one else. So call the number on the screen, go below and check out the links and click that. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.